Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Realtors about real stuff, real things, real estate, most importantly.
Real estate. Yes.
So today we're going to talk about how many people are involved in selling your house or even when you're purchasing a house.
Yeah. How many people does it take to sell a house or buy a house?
A village.
It takes a village.
I would say 27 roughly. Just kidding. We'll find out in a second.
There's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of moving parts. And I think a lot of people don't really know that.
Yeah.
But I think you, as you drop your pen, we're saying, starting first with your realtor, right? I mean,
Yes.
you have your main contact. That's your realtor. But that realtor does not stand alone.
No, and the realtor, I would say half of the realtor's job is juggling all these other people.
Right.
Along with our assistants.
What's that saying? The woman behind the man, it's the people behind the realtor is how you have a successful transaction.
Yes.
So you've got your realtor and then what?
So in our instance of having a team, and if you're working with an agent on a team, then they also have the team of agents behind them that is helping to find a buyer for your house or we're all helping find houses for each other's buyers too.
Exactly. So if we have a listing, it's not just, so let's just say it's my listing. It's just not just me. It's the 10 other agents on our team that are promoting your listing, getting leads on your listing, getting leads on not your listing. It's another listing in the same price point, but they're turning and going, well, wait, have you seen this listing? Which would, hopefully be our listing.
Yep.
So yeah, they're really helping sell. And like you said, also helping you find your buyers a property.
Yes. And then our videographer, Courtney, made the point of we all help each other do open houses too. So it allows for your property to be open a lot more than if it was just me. Cause I can't hold a property open for 8 hours Saturday and Sunday,
So I think the moral of that first story is more exposure because you have more people when you're working with a team.
Yep. So on to number 2. Okay. That was number 2. So you have your realtor, you have your team of agents, and then you have your videographer. So in this market, it is super important to have a video for your listing so that way your agent and your agent's team can promote it. And on the Laughins team, we have a videographer who's doing obviously our podcast and our video and all of our other media. And we couldn't do this level of marketing without her. So I think it's really unique and special that we have a videographer on staff.
Yeah. It's sort of like we say, what do we do before Courtney? I guess we just sort of did it ourselves. But the problem is that it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
And so that's why we need someone that's constantly promoting our listings. And also it helps the buyers see what's out there at different shots, different angles, different exposure of the property. The way that Courtney makes it look is better than just seeing it on Zillow.
Yep.
So it helps the buyer through that process as well.
Yep. Okay. Moving
What
on.
else? Yeah. Client care coordinator. So our team, we have a couple people that actually do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we have somebody that I think we have 4, what would you call it? Not administrative people here.
People who aren't agents, basically.
I think that 3 of them are all involved in clients, starting from the listing manager to the transaction coordinator, but then also working with somebody on our staff that makes sure that all their needs are being met in terms of if they've gone to our website and what do they need help with, then maybe you can elaborate better than I am.
Yeah, I mean, I think this person wears a lot of hats and they keep just operations running smoothly on the team. And then they're also there to, like you just said, follow up and help current people we're working with, as well as after the property closes, she follows up and makes sure that everything's going smoothly with the house. And do you need any references or whatever? So she does a lot of different things.
Yeah. Yeah, she does.
Okay, so the next would be a marketing person. So the marketing person is going to be doing all of our social media, all of our print ads, like all the ways that we promote your home, basically. And that is super important.
And keeping you informed on that. So Riley on our team is in charge of that. And she also sends out stats to the homeowner every other week to just let them know how many views they've had, what their social media has been doing, what's Zillow saying, how many showings they've had, what the feedback's been. So that's awesome and helpful as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so along those lines is the listing manager. So we
Yes.
have a fully dedicated person to your listing. So that's part of her job is communication and informing you of all those things that have been going on with your listing. And then another thing is making sure that all the things to get your home ready is coordinated. Like she and the realtor work together to make sure that that stuff is scheduled and going up. And then she writes the property description. She posts it on MLS. She schedules all the open houses. She deals with scheduling showings, bless her heart. So that she keeps us sane. She keeps our heads on straight with all our listings.
Right. And keeps, like I said before, keeps the client informed about what's going on. So I can't tell you in our case how many compliments we get about the people that help our clients through the process.
Yeah.
They are always just saying, oh my gosh, they were so amazing. So
yeah, and basically we couldn't do our level of service that we do without them.
Yeah.
So you could hire any old realtor who doesn't have all this at their fingertips and have built this type of a business, and they might sell your home, but are you going to get that 5-star service?
right.
Probably not.
And that's
You need
important.
a lot of help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Moving on.
And then we have our transaction manager.
Yes.
Whew, that's a big job.
a big
At
job.
least on our team, it's a big job. I think she wears a few hats as well.
If you've ever bought or sold a house, you know how much paperwork there is.
Tons of paperwork. And then not only that, coordinating repairs and the inspections and then
The signing.
making sure that, everybody's where they're supposed to be at the end of the situation. Or if the property has solar, and did the solar get handled? And pretty much they handle
Everything during the transaction.
all of the little details.
All the little details.
You know, your realtor is going to negotiate for you. There's 2 points of negotiation. It's the beginning, and then it's the request for repairs, kind of in the middle. The rest of it, the transaction manager just really handles it. So it's important to have one. And I feel like, and I'm not just bragging about ours, but I think it's important to have somebody that goes above and beyond. So I think that compared to other transaction managers, Natalie does a lot extra.
Yeah, a lot extra. And she's so detail oriented, which is really helpful. I think a lot of realtors are naturally not detail oriented because
artists.
They're artists. It's just the type of person that is drawn to a career like that. So you have to have somebody like Natalie who's going to catch all those little details, make sure nothing slips through the cracks, make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted.
From things like, did you transfer the PG&E out of your name?
Yes.
It's just, anyways, there's
they're
a lot.
Make sure that the staging invoice is on the closing settlement, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always to the stager, please send this to Natalie because you'll get so many emails. You just
I know.
don't think about little things.
Right.
It's not a little thing. That's why it needs to go to Natalie.
Speaking of stagers.
So stager is a big part of getting your home ready to sell. And that could mean doing what stager Stacy calls an 11 step, where she does a walkthrough with you and says, okay, move this over here, take this down, blah, 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 and make it just show its best for photos.
So she stages the house that somebody already lives in. She doesn't bring in her own stuff. Yeah.
And moves, you're staging with your own furniture, basically. Or a partial stage where you've moved out and there's an option to just stage the main living areas and the master bathroom, and that's good if you're trying to save a buck there and you just want it to present decent, or a full stage where they stage everything top to bottom, which is usually preferred. So the stager is very important. I think especially if it's an older home that hasn't been updated, if you make it really cute, then it's easier for buyers to look past that stuff.
Yeah, it'll update a dated home.
Yes, hands down. It makes a huge difference.
Photographer. There's so many great photographers, real estate photographers right now. Sometimes it's just hard to choose which one. I mean, I've been working with, I'm going to give a shout out to Ron Putnam forever, but there's,
Jordan,
Hayden. I mean, there's a few,
Justin,
and I think they're all great.
Stephanie. Yeah, they all do a really good job. It's definitely an art form. Not everybody can do it. Or I think if you do want to get into that, then you really have to learn that specific type of photography. But man, they make our houses look good.
They really do.
Online.
And I just think it's a must.
It's a must. And photos, and the reason is because photos online is the new curb appeal. So the first thing they do is go online and look at it, and then they drive by the house.
Yeah.
So you want to make it so that way they want to go drive by the house or they want to see it.
If you don't have professional photography, you're missing the boat big time.
Yep. You're going to leave thousands of dollars on the table.
Yeah.
Okay. So next would be all the people to get the home ready. And then also the contractor in this case also helps during escrow. So that would be our contractors, our landscapers, our cleaners, and our painters is the ones we have listed. So they really pull through for us actually a lot of the time. Cause sometimes we're like, we need to get this house on the market in 2 weeks. Can you paint?
And the pressure washing guy, don't forget about the pressure washing guy.
Landscaper is kind of in that.
Yeah, that's true. That'd be under landscaping, but that's huge. I think pressure washing is really important. It really can make a house look great. But yeah, there's a lot of people that it takes to get it ready, because especially if you've lived in a house for a long time, and especially in this market, it needs to look
pristine, like it's best.
To get the highest and best price, it needs to look like a model home.
Yeah. So basically, like, we will be able to, because of our connections here, we'll be able to coordinate all that for you. And, you know, you foot the bill for it for the most part, but we'll be able to coordinate all of it.
Right. Yep.
And then next,
appraisers. So once you get into contract, you got to have the house appraised if you're getting a loan.
Yeah.
So
appraisers are super important.
Really important, and most of them in our area at least are really awesome. We don't really have an issue with appraisers. I listen to some podcasts where they're just like, the appraiser, and I'm like,
I know.
We don't really have that problem, but they're key.
They're
they're the eyes and ears, I guess, or the eyes for the bank.
Yeah.
So if the roof's sliding off, he's going to notice, he or she will note that.
Yes.
So you got to make sure that the house is in decent shape. But yeah, the appraiser is basically sort of, they do work for the bank. They are hired by the bank that's loaning the money.
Yeah.
And they're out there to make sure that they're not loaning on a house that's going to fall apart.
Yeah. And we do have good relationships with the appraisers in town, and we can help them comp properties too sometimes, like bring them comps that we use for this property or that we find.
Right. True.
Okay. So inspectors, super important to have good inspectors, because you want to make sure that you catch everything during escrow. And that also goes for if you're a seller getting inspections beforehand. Just, you know, the inspectors that we work with are good people.
Yeah, and I think most of the inspectors, what I hear a lot of people saying was, well, we don't want to use, the buyer will maybe say, well, we want our own inspectors, not the ones the seller used. Well, I can guarantee in our area, the inspectors that we use are probably the same inspectors that your realtor is going to recommend to you, because it's a small town. Yeah. There's only so many. And I think we've weeded out the ones that don't do a good job. As a listing agent, you want to have a thorough inspector, because you don't want anything coming back, or you just want to know everything up front. So I think most of the agents in our area anyways, all use similar inspectors, and they're all good and thorough.
Honest people. And that's the thing too, is they are honest. They're not going to have a bias based on if the buyer or the seller hired them. Actually, Natalie is the one ordering that inspection.
Right.
So they don't necessarily like know if it's for the seller or the buyer anyways. And they're there to be a neutral third party and just call out what they say. They have to be honest about all that, because if they purposely skip on something, it's going to come back to bite them.
Absolutely. They don't want to get sued.
No. So that's just like a moot point.
Yeah. That should have been in our rumors podcast.
That would have been
inspectors
a good one.
Aren't, I don't know, honest.
If you guys haven't listened to that one, go back and listen to our rumors versus reality. Okay, moving on, we have, oh gosh, your lender, and of course your lender's assistant, called an LOA. So important. The lender is just as important as the real estate agent that you choose. And it's the same reason. It's not only is it because of, you know, they're handling your finances basically for this period of time, but you need to be able to trust them, and that they're giving you the best advice possible, and you feel like you can be honest with them, and that you have their cell phone number, because not every lender does that.
No.
Make sure that they work after 5 p.m. Make sure that they work weekends, and that they're there to answer all your questions and not like be confusing.
And show you all the options, because there are multiple options for a lot of people in terms of how you're going to get, especially these days, because there's now a lot of adjustable rate mortgages that are coming into play, and all those things, the buy downs. So it's important to get a local lender. And like you said, one where you have their cell number, kind of like you do your realtor.
Yep. That's always what I say. You know how you have my cell phone number and you can text me whenever? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, you want that for your lender too. Last but not least, we have a few honorable mentions. People that are involved, but not as involved as the rest of these people.
Well, they are at different points because the first thing that you have on that list is title and escrow. Once you get into escrow, your escrow officer is like in it, especially if there's a problem on the title.
Yeah.
You're kind of working with them. I just talked to Jordan the other day over at Fidelity and we were talking about a past deal and how that just was like in depth, and he had to go back and do a lot of work to get that deal to go through because there was an issue with the title. Long story, but having a good title and escrow, and in our area, title and escrow is in the same within the same company, but like Southern California, it's two different. You would have an escrow and you'd have a title rep, but no, super important. They help once you get into contract. You're talking Natalie's talking to them every single day.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, they weren't in my honorable mentions list. I just left them out.
I gotcha.
Skipped ahead. So that was one of my main people that I wrote down and it is like, you don't realize how important the title officer is until something with title comes up. And then you're like, okay, we have to get this lien off, or this person, there's so many, just like, you don't know what can go wrong until it
property lines could be wrong. I mean, there's so many things. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to honorable mentions.
So we have a notary. You have to, unless you're purchasing cash, get your loan docs notarized. And even if you're purchasing cash, sometimes there's some stuff to notarize. So the notary is important. Oftentimes it will be your title or escrow officer. But you can hire a notary to come, or they can hire one for you to come to your house and do a mobile signing. And notaries are literally required for the sale.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
Home warranty rep.
Yes, we have a few good ones here.
We do.
I think one of the hardest things for me about the home warranty is, are their vendors local? Because there is one where the vendor is actually in Placer County.
Yeah.
For our area, that's like
an hour or so.
An hour to 2 hours away. But on that end, it's hard to get those good. So note to self, when you're looking at home warranties, figure out where their vendors are.
Yeah.
So if you have an AC problem, you want whoever's going to come out and look at that and cover it under your warranty, hopefully they're local and not 2 or 3 hours from here.
Yeah, because then they can get to you faster. The home warranty rep is awesome because I can call them and ask questions. I can have my client call and be like, okay, what does this package mean? Or if this scenario were to happen, would this be covered? And they can go into more detail. However, the home warranty, if you want to ask the seller to help pay for that, you have to put that on the offer. So I've become a really good home warranty salesperson because I'm the one having to explain
why
the
they
home
need
warranty.
it.
Yeah. So that's the only, I wish there was some way around that, and maybe that's something we talk about later on
a different episode.
But or maybe it might even be good for one of our reps to do a video that we can send the client in advance, so that way they can make the decision on what type of warranty they want.
We have 2 that have been around forever. Yeah, and they're both great.
Yeah. So solar, I have a couple of friends in solar, and they've really come in clutch for me recently, where it's just like I can ask them can you come drive by this house and just look and make sure everything's functioning properly, and you can hire them to do a full inspection. Or I've texted contracts over to my friend Caleb, shout out, and been like, does this look normal to you? Can you explain A, B, and C on this to me? Because I don't understand. And they are just so helpful.
And unfortunately, the solar companies
are not that helpful.
No, they're not. That's the hard part. Yeah. So, and if you are, just a note on solar, just really look through the contract if you are getting leased solar. And see how much time is left on the contract if you're buying a house with leased solar. So that's all I have to say about that. Yep. Insurance. You asked me an insurance. Oh yeah, about flood insurance.
Yeah.
You asked about that today. So
we have a couple of, we have lots of insurance agents in town. And I look at your insurance agent similarly to how you would choose a realtor or a lender. Like, I want a good insurance agent who's going to help me pick a good product. And like, if I need to make a claim, is it going to be easy? If I have a question, like we added my wedding ring, and that was super easy. I literally texted my agent, said, can you add my wedding ring? And he's like, yeah, here's the info I need. And it was done. And then same with Dylan's bike, added that. And just got it done. Cool. My husband, shout out. So anyways, I love my insurance agent, and he just makes life easy on me.
Yeah, it's nice to have it. And most people, though, when they do buy a house, they probably already have an insurance agent. Like, so if whoever you had insured your home previously, you would probably use them if you're happy. Or your car if you don't own a home. You might be able to do like the bundle thing. But like recently, I'm having trouble getting a house with knob and tube wiring insured. A lot of times if you call like a Nevin and Witt, they're kind of like almost like a broker, right?
Yep.
And so they can help out. But even I had trouble with that with Nevin and Witt. So
Okay, so that is our episode on It Takes a Village to Sell a House.
yep. Good job. I like it. It's true.
List.
And all those people are super important to us and important to our clients.
So don't try to for sale by owner, because unless you know every single one of these people, it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, good point. Especially in this market.
Okay, all right. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.